We have been driving all over the city through snow, through burnt out headlights, but we're bringing you the first ever stripped down live clip show. Oh, we've done clip shows in the past, but they've never been in a live format. I have no idea how the next hour is going to go. I'm hoping there's interaction here. I'm hoping there's viewers that ask questions because we're basically bribing you. We have $125 of Earl's cards to give out to the best question tonight. There she is, over to Caitlin, our social media correspondent. Caitlin, no safety net, no prep, no run through. We just sat down, suddenly it was like 2 minutes and we're off, and I feel like no one is prepared, so everyone is prepared, if that makes sense. How are you doing, Caitlin? Are you ready for tonight?
I'm doing great. I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm ready for whatever happens.
Well, we're a minute in, so 59
so
to go.
Here we are.
We are going to show some clips tonight. I have a whole bunch of clips ready to go. The ever-ready Eric Steiner and Dean Pozlowski are in the control room, ready to hit play on whatever order and whatever we decide to run and look back on. But it has been 14 seasons of Strip Down Live / Strip Down. We did it live to tape for the first 7 seasons before taking a 4-year break and bringing the show back in 2018, where we actually started doing it from here, legitimately live like it is right now, with zero safety net. Whatever happens goes to air, and it's a completely different energy. And again, as I said off the top, we've done clip shows before, but they were always like pre-taped and edited together. So let's see what happens when we try it in the live environment. Ask away. Best question is $125 for Earl's. It's a good time of year. Take your special someone out for a nice meal at Earl's before Christmas. Earl's, of course, our title sponsor, but we'll go through all that later. Right now, ask some questions, make some comments, and let's get this thing going. I want to start with how this show actually came to be. So, Eric, if you can get number 1, Carolyn Dawn Johnson, ready to go. Here's the origins of Strip Down that a lot of people probably don't even know. And I got to eventually thank the person responsible for the inspiration of the show you're watching right now. Roll clip. Joined now by the lovely Carolyn Dawn Johnson. I'm not lying to you. This whole day, I'm dressed up. I'm excited for the CCMAs the most just to talk to you. I want to tell you, I'm not joking. I want to tell you a story.
Thank you.
Juno Fest, TCU place. I'm sitting in the audience. You're doing the singer-songwriter in the round. You tell the story of Complicated. You play Complicated. You tell the post story of the song, and it inspired me to create my own music show. I'm not making this up.
Oh my
on
gosh.
Shaw TV, you've never been on Strip Down, but that's the name of the show. It has gone 6 seasons, 160 some episodes with that format of story, song, story.
So
we have had like the sheepdogs on, like the best and the brightest of Saskatchewan. It runs Saskatchewan wide, and it's all because of this lady right here. I have never told that story before to anybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It has been a career highlight, and it was all because of that moment, sitting in the crowd, listening to the story of Complicated.
I need to do your show.
It would be amazing.
Right?
We're coming up to episode 200.
Oh my gosh.
It would be,
Congratulations
it would
on
be
your success
crazy.
with that. Oh
well,
my
thank you
gosh.
so much.
This makes me so happy because I've had so many people inspire me in my life and my career that I'd love to actually think that maybe I've inspired somebody else.
For me, Carolyn Dawn Johnson has always been one of the most sincere artists I've ever gotten to meet, because you never forget the first time that you meet your idol, like someone that you really look up to. And I was really young the first time I met Carolyn Dawn Johnson, and she was just as sincere then as she is now. And when I was announcing, the thing that I said before I announced the award was, these are people that inspire young girls to sing in their bedroom and their first karaoke and open mic nights. And for me, that was Carolyn Dawn Johnson. I was like, Complicated was my karaoke song. So I was really excited that that I got to give her the award.
Has Taylor Swift been on Strip Down Live? Technically, yes. There you go. Carolyn Dawn Johnson inspiring both Curtis Anderson and Taylor Swift. Kaylin, who do you think Carolyn Dawn Johnson is more proud of for inspiring?
Well, I mean, she inspired a whole show here, so obviously Strip Down Live. Nothing to do with Taylor Swift, I don't think.
This should be like the Strip Down eras tonight. Strip
This
Down
is
Live
the
eras.
Strip Down Live eras.
Because we are jumping all over the place. We're going from year to year. We're showing footage that's never been seen before. We're telling stories that have never been told before. And you're wonderfully new to the show.
Yeah.
So this is like probably even extra scary for you. For
It is.
No safety net, no stories to like. You have 2 episodes to fall back on in conversation.
Yeah,
So.
no context, but I'm going to learn so much context tonight, which
Do we
is
have
exciting.
Do we have any interaction yet?
Why, yes, we do.
Oh, amazing!
The lovely Clayton Croker asked a question.
Clayton Croker,
He said, first...
former coworker of ours.
That is true.
Okay.
He says, if you find an extension cord on the ground from someone who forgot to unplug their car, is it free game? Can you just take it? And I think this is very relevant.
Yes. Unfortunately, I've found it's usually the really bad extension cords. You never find one of those really swank ones with the like light up ends, because those people that invest the proper amount of money for a good cord never forget to unplug them.
That's true. And if they do
So
forget,
if it's a crap one, yeah, take it.
Yeah.
If it's a good one, take it anyway, and that's a huge win. If it's plugged into someone else's car, take it, Clayton. You need one. It's cold outside today. Absolutely.
he also says Carolyn Dawn Johnson rocks.
She does.
She does.
Complicated. What a great song.
And
if
then
you even if you dislike country music or pretend to hate country music, Complicated is a great song.
that's true.
See, don't listen to me. Listen to Taylor Swift, who also loves that song.
And from Gary Nickel,
Oh man, it's everyone.
he says 911 Turbo is the greatest episode ever. Please prove it for everyone by playing a clip of said greatest episode. Thank you, brother. Love the show. Love you, my handsome, sweet prince.
Love you, Gary. And you know what? We just happen to have a clip of 911 Turbo. It's called Laser Beams, and we should load that up, because apparently I just heard the story the other day. Actually, I was on Gary Nichols' show called Your Show, and actually it was yesterday. We were promoting This Tonight, and he was talking about how before this episode he went out drinking with the band and pretty much dropped him off at the door. This is before I knew who Gary was. And we did the show, and then I think he picked him up again, and they resumed drinking. So this would explain a lot I didn't know at the time. But let's play. This is a great moment of our show. So you should pay attention to this, Caitlin. Here is 911 Turbo and Laser Beams.
Lights are spinning, with the drinks who's drank. Music club, with the music screams. Yeah, dance all night, you in my dreams. Laser beam, I like your laser beam. I like your laser beam. I like your laser beam. Yeah, pull up front. It's a limo ride, which you will be by my side. Yeah, hands in the air, as the crowd screams. Me and you, the rock and roll dreams. Laser beam, I like your laser beam.
All right, you could probably bail out of that. That is an infamous episode because our switcher director at the time, Bryn Kreisa, was working the T-bar fader so quickly, so often in that 60-minute show that it came clean off. And she walked in after and was like, sorry, I broke your T-bar. And I was like, you'd be proud you broke the T-bar, because there was probably 167,000 transitions during that one episode. And I just remember everybody having so much fun. It's one thing to do the show and I'm having fun, but when I look out and I see the camera ops, like giant grimace, Joker smiles, rocking along, the camera work suffering because they're laughing and having so much fun. That's what I go for. I will sacrifice quality all the time for a good time.
I think that was quality.
That should be a slogan. It should be a stripped down live, sacrificing quality for a good time. It's good. It's good stuff. So that was 911 Turbo, Caitlin.
And I see why it's the greatest episode.
Well, it's one of definitely. Let's continue on with the look back. Our good friend of the show, the movie geek, Craig Silliphant. He wrote a book Well, he actually facilitated the writing of a book. That didn't make any sense. He reached out to local people in the music industry and put together a collection of stories. And he came to me and was like, we want to tell the story of Stripped Down. And I wrote a short story about Stripped Down and everything we had done at the time. And he included it in his book that is called Exile Off Main Street. I went to the book launch and we shared this. Roll clip.
Let's jump into the book. Asking the Saskatoon musical scene for the past, 20, 30, 40 years, how big of an undertaking was that? Did you just throw out emails and sit back and pray?
Yeah, basically, actually. Well, I meant to be really lazy about it, and I thought I could just archive like a bunch of old articles from Planet S and places, but it kind of took on a life of its own after that and became this heinous thing that I had to, corral people. I got other writers, including yourself, writing about Shaw Stripped Down, you know what I mean? So yeah, it turned into quite a big deal to corral and get everybody together, but I had to push through and get it done.
Was it information overload at times? Like, what was the editing process like?
Sort of, but I didn't really try to there's no way you can possibly hit on everything, right? So, I mean, there's giant holes in it, but there's a quote from Gandhi that's in the book, not Gandhi himself, but the movie Gandhi from Richard Attenborough, and he said, when he made the movie Gandhi, he said, you can't encompass a whole man's life with a movie, or in this case the music scene with a book, but if you can just sort of hit those right notes here and there, you can sort of encapsulate what that person was about. And so that's really what I tried to do is, in addition to my own writing, memoirs, interviews, articles, I got a ton of other people to tell their stories. Like I said, you told the story of Stripped Down. Chris Laramie from Shooting Guns told the story of Parades Against Parades. Chris Morin from Ominosity tells the story of how he got into the DIY punk scene as a teenager. Ron Spazzeri, Oral Fuentes, Don Griffith, just these huge names in Saskatoon music all kind of jump in and tell their stories.
My favorite part of that is when I was my own B-roll. Thanks, Craig, again, friend of the show. I don't know if he said he was going to tune in tonight. If you have any thoughts or feedback about your own book and what else people, if it's still available and all that, let us know right in. You just might win $125, Craig. So that was, those are kind of the two origins of the show, Caitlin. If you want the full background of how it got started, either check out Carolyn Dawn Johnson or read Craig's book. Both are good options. Any more questions? Any more comments?
So many questions.
Seriously?
Actually. Yeah, we've got a lot. Okay, this
Okay.
is from Jill.
Jill.
Cohen.
Yep.
She says, what a way to begin this show tonight. Which musical guest on Stripped Down was the most nerve-wracking to interview?
Oh, great question, Jill. That is going to lead into another clip, actually. Andy Schaaf. Can't win them all, folks. You're probably aware of Andy Schaaf as the Canadian sensation that he has become now, and I mean he's all over CBC and he tours the world, and he's a pretty big deal in the folk rock genre. This is episode 30 maybe, so I'm still learning how to carry a 1 hour interview, and Andy Schaaf is 16 or something. He is not famous yet, so I'm already kind of still learning. Add in the fact that I have a double eye infection, so I'm off my game. And at this point, I lived and died by research. Andy Schaaf had nothing online about him at the time, because again, he had just started out. And so there's nothing online. I have no set questions to rely on. I've got a double eye infection. I am just having the worst night. And the show was supposed to be canceled, actually, because the original artist canceled, and Andy Schaaf at the time was a friend of some of the crew members, and he was in Regina, and he was here at the time, and they're like, he'd love to do the show, and I was like, bring him on, let's go. So Andy Schaaf came on, and one of the worst interviews I've ever done, and that's on me. He was very shy and quiet, and of course that became the most famous episode of Stripped Down that I posted online with so many comments, most of them dragging me. There's a lot of, Andy, you're the best, fire the host. And but I've always had it in my mind that it was both of us, that he was not giving me anything and I was not feeling great and dragging yes and no answers out of him. However, the other night I really sat down and watched half an hour of it. And I think it was me. He was doing a lot better than I remember him answering my questions. And apologies to Andy Schaaf. It was not my best moment, and of course it has to be the most watched episode I posted online. But let's go back in time when Andy Schaaf was like a 16-year-old soft-spoken guy singing Christian rock. Let's roll Andy Schaaf.
Tonight on Stripped Down from the Queen City, ladies and gentlemen, it's Andy Schaaf.
I'm a writer of love songs, in need of something new. I'm a writer of love songs, broke my heart in stone.
First CD that came out, 2007.
Darker Days.
Okay.
It's
And that was on a label.
yeah, on Shameless Records. It's actually coming out again in May.
It's coming out again.
Yeah, they're
re-releasing
re-releasing it. Yeah, because it was just so loved.
I'm confused.
I signed to a new label in the States called Peas for Panda,
Okay.
and so we're re-releasing that one to stores and stuff.
And is that the one where like small proceeds go to charity?
Yeah, a
Explain
third.
that.
Yeah, a third goes to charity, a third goes to the label, and a third goes to the artist of all profits.
Was that your idea?
No, I wish
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Is that pretty common? I've never heard of that before.
Like among record labels? No, not really. There's just a few that work with charities. Peas for Panda wants to kind of make that a goal of all the money that they get to give some to charities.
Do you know?
Big shout out to Dean and Eric for digitizing out the tumbleweed that keeps going by during that interview. Andy Schaaf, apologies. That's on me, man. That interview failed 100% on my shoulders. So, Jill, that was probably the toughest interview I ever did. I think that was your question. If I could do it again, man, I would love to have Andy Schaaf back on the show. But my favorite comment, as I'm getting dragged in the comment section, was this one young lady said, Andy, we love you. This was painful to watch. I hope you're famous enough that you don't have to do interviews like this anymore. And I replied, he is. And that's the Andy Schaaf story. He's doing great. Go support him. Go check out his music. He's amazing. Let's keep going, Caitlin. Peas for Panda.
Oh, we have another one.
Let's talk about that for 5 minutes.
You're asking like a 16-year-old if he knows like about charity and everything.
Well,
Like, he doesn't know.
Where were you?
I don't know, not born.
Come on. It wasn't that long ago. Oh, now I'm getting dragged outside of the comment section.
All right, we have a question from Jamie.
Jamie.
She says, what kind of liability insurance does Strip Down have, specifically in regards to having live bands interviews on live running suspended bridge train tracks?
Ooh, that's a great question. Yes, I once interviewed Volcanoes in Canada on the train tracks. That wasn't for this show, though. That was just like a, hey, what's coming up? When we did have Volcanoes in Canada on the show, which I believe was our Season 3, Episode 1, our season kickoff, everyone was safe, Jamie. I made sure they were safe. They were on the couches. They were strapped down, probably. I probably made them wear seatbelts. And they had a wonderful acoustic set here. And it was safety first, as usual, on Strip Down. And then we played on the train tracks, and I don't remember what happened. But at the time, when they played Strip Down, it was safe. Great question, though. Let me know if you want to know about Peas for Pandas.
This one is from Greg. He says, I love 911 Turbo. And then he says, who is the loudest band that's ever been on the show?
Ooh, that is a great question. There was, it's escaping me now, but I remember towards the end of the run of the original show, it was this like 9-piece band that came on. It was Felipe Gomez's band. I can't remember the name of it. Bass Invaders. Thank you. Thank you, Camera One. And I just remember doing like a 4-hour like sound check because they had like 9 instruments. And it was just so loud in here. And I'm sitting back there, and I mean, they sound great. Amazing musicians. It's not that, but I was just remembering how like I wanted to start this little one-on-one acoustic music show. I was like, we have lost the plot so far at this point. Great episode. I mean, it's All these episodes, by the way, that I'm talking about, if I don't have clips of them, they're on the MerMoose Media YouTube channel. That's my personal channel that I upload everything, and almost the entire run of the show is up there at this point. So yeah, Bass Invaders, again, great show, great artists, but about as far from the one-on-one, stripped down acoustic show you could possibly get. Great question. Like, still coming in, eh?
Oh yeah, we got a lot.
Success.
There's so many.
I have so many clips here too.
I'm gonna ask one from Danielle.
Danielle.
She says, how has the local music scene changed over the years of doing this show?
Lydia's died. That's a big thing. It's weird growing up with bands and then they fall off, but then like a new resurgence of bands. This is like my personal experience. Because like when I started the show, a lot of the artists were my age. And then very few of them are still doing music at a high level or like not as a hobby. And then new bands of like kids that are really young to me started up. So it's watching history repeat itself, only now I'm looking down like a grandfather, if that makes sense. So how does it change for the artists? I would probably say obviously everything goes online now compared to the old grind of going to Lydia's and playing and hoping people buy your music. But for me, for my perspective, if that's what you're asking, it's weird seeing these young, hopeful people start bands and they're like, we're going to make it. And I'm super pumped and positive for them, and I hope they do. But I just flash back to all my friends that had that same attitude like 15 years later, and now they're like accountants. So it's like, I look back with dreamer's eyes, but also with wisdom of like, get an education first, then follow your musical dreams. Have something to fall back on. How lame of an adult answer was that, Caitlin? Right? You should be ashamed.
You know, I thought you were doing pretty well.
I mean, you got a degree before you came and did this, so
exactly,
you got something to fall back on.
Don't get an English degree, people.
If this doesn't pay the bills.
This is a great question. Jamie has great questions.
Okay, Jamie wants that $125 from Earls.
And
again,
she may.
The best question tonight gets $125 from Earls.
How many different haircuts on Curtis in 14 seasons?
Ooh. Funny thing you mentioned, I don't have this clip, but if you go to MerMoose Media and you can look up the first, I made a montage a long time ago of my first 100 guest introductions. So it's me just going like, Jen Lane, Smoke Killer, Ash Jones, Chris Brinklow, 911 Turbo, just one after another. And you can see my hair get long and then short and then colored. It's kind of cool. So probably 10. We'll go with 10. That's a fun question though. Let's show another. Speaking of, I mentioned in my thing, episode 1 was a gentleman named Chris. And this is fun because this is when we were just starting out. No idea what we could or couldn't do. So here's our local music showcase. Kicking things off with episode 1. And what is the first song ever on Stripped Down? Let's roll Chris. What is it? Chris. Let's roll that. Episode 1, Chris. Oh, the original intro. Here it is. We had a fish at one point. Here it is, folks. Listen to this.
This is it. I am Curtis Anderson, and you are watching Stripped Down, Saskatchewan's 1-hour local music showcase. Each and every week, we'll be bringing a different Saskatchewan band right here into the Shaw Studios, where they'll perform a live, stripped down version of their set. We'll talk about the songwriting process, the past, the future, everything you want to know about Saskatchewan's greatest bands will be revealed on this program. So, tonight, helping us kick off the inaugural episode of Stripped Down, well, he's a staple at Lydia's and Cafe Vivant. He's collaborated with local heavy hitters such as Kim Fontaine and the Northern Pikes' Jay Semko. He's talented, he's funny, he's driven, he's full of surprises, he's everything we want Stripped Down to be. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Brinklow.
And
fly me to the moon, let me sing among the stars.
Yeah, first song, a cover. That was a swing and a miss. Shout out to Chris though, because this is funny. You'll appreciate this. The first time we taped that show, I told the the youngins to hit record on the tape deck, and they did. But you have to hit play and record. Anybody who grew up in the 80s and early 90s know you got to hit those 2 buttons, and they just hit record, so it didn't record. Chris had to come back the next week and do it all again. And still did a cover, but that's fine. Before we go into the next question, though, speaking of covers, Eric's going to love this. On our 5th episode that never went to air, we hit a little snag, folks. First full band was a group of misfits called Doll Talk and Ransom. And the episode never went to air for a bunch of reasons we're about to see. And it's a fun ride. Let's roll Doll Talk and take a sip of coffee here.
Tonight, we feature our first full band. Ladies and gentlemen, Doll Talk and Ransom. Doll Talk and Ransom kind of brought the show to a new level that no one expected it to be.
They were absolutely ridiculous. There's really nothing else to say about them.
The girl from Doll Talk, when she went horribly off the script and wonderfully off the script.
Again, they were one of the first 3 or 4. I think they were number 5, so there was a lot of downtime for them. I think they sat on the couches probably over an hour before we finally had them properly mic'd and started rolling. So they were already a little restless.
It was interesting. It kind of shook the way we did around here, kind of thing. Everything was kind of kept on the couch and pretty boxed in, so to speak, and they took it outside the box.
They started busting out a bunch of covers.
She said, come on, baby, you got a license for love.
And up until that point, we had never really dealt with it. Kind of been in the back of our minds, yeah, we should probably check to see if we're allowed to do cover songs. We weren't.
In the midnight hour, she cried more.
Already delayed over an hour, so we just kind of let them go and thought, well, we'll deal with this later. At one point in the show, Heather, the lead singer, got up and started dancing. Okay, that's all good. Then she starts crawling up the set, and then she proceeds to start moaning.
I was handheld for that episode, and I got to follow the girl up onto the ladders. And
Oh. And then this crazy girl is just getting up and she's walking all over the place and yelling and moaning, and everybody's like, what are these people doing?
All I heard was there was a lot of like panting and moaning on the stairs. Not a good one, I hear.
I don't know, it was a blur of a lot of moaning and red hair.
I guess she got really into the music. Who knows? Started making rather inappropriate noises.
I'm sitting back going, okay, won't be able to use this. Gonna have to cover this. No, that is never gonna go to air.
Till I get to the bottom and I see you again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you watch the tape, I've aged probably 10 years. I've lost all control of this show.
And then his friend comes up, and before I know it,
I feel kind of dirty actually just sitting on these stairs.
That band is too much for it to strip down to handle. No, sit down and play your instruments and be normal. That was just a no-go. So maybe they'll come back one day and they'll be more G-rated, but who knows?
It was something, and it turns out we couldn't air that episode for various legal reasons.
Shout out to Doll Talk and Ransom. 2 of those, 2 original Doll Talk members are in Fear of Knowing, still out there killing it, doing great. So that was the episode 5 that never went to air, Caitlin.
I see why.
Yeah,
I
it
see
was
why.
good times. It was there was some energy in the room that night.
She just didn't get the vibe.
No,
No.
she got the vibe and stomped on it, and
Yeah.
she took it over. Anyway, more questions. Let's go.
Yes, lots of questions.
Nice.
This one's from Evan Rude.
Nice.
Who was the meanest guest / interview? Who left the biggest impact on you, positive or negative? I guess that was 2.
Oh, geez, that is I'm not gonna lie, that's my favorite question so far. The biggest, Larry Krause comes to mind. He was our 75th episode. kind of like a grizzled old country guy. And, you know, we had a bunch of like folk kids originally for the crew. So not super big fans of country music. So this like older gentleman comes in, just like cowboy from head to foot, and he won them over. You know, I was like, every time we had a country act, it was like, it's going to be great. Country artists are amazing. They're like the nicest people in the world. We always have great conversations, but I always want to make it fun for the studio ops as well. And I knew they were not country fans, but he came in and he just had this presence and he won them over. And at one point he was like yodeling, and you would think a bunch of like jaded teenagers would be like, this guy yodeling. And I looked out and they were just like watching this guy yodel. And I thought, that guy knows what he's doing. There's a musician. This guy comes in, wins over a room of like folksy, angsty teenagers. I'm gonna think more on that one, Evan. But so far, that's my answer.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
I wonder what he's doing now.
He went on to have his own country version of Stripped Down on this very channel, and he did like 5 or 6 seasons, and he won a whole bunch of awards to go on the shelf besides Stripped Down's awards.
But you're not bitter, hey?
No, you know me. I don't get bitter about anything.
Get bitter.
I'm happy 24/7. What's up?
We have a lot of questions. I'm just trying to get through them here. Who's someone you had on recently who you think will get as famous as Andy Schaaf? And Taylor Elliott asked that.
Oh, the young lady that was on with Josh Palmer last season.
The redhead?
I can't remember her name. Haley Ponton? I'm sorry. See, now this is going to be the clip years from now that I get dragged on because I didn't know who she was, right? I'm going to be, look at this idiot, didn't know who she was back in 2024. Unbelievable talent. Presence, just like everything. I remember when we booked her for the show, she was like, can I bring a backup guitarist? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I assumed it was going to be just like, I don't know, her friend. And it was Josh Palmer, who's like the best musician in Saskatoon. And I was like, girl, like I've never heard of you before. How do you have Josh Palmer as backup? And they did the show. I was like, I get it. All right, I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
That was the first episode of the show I watched, actually.
There you go. Yeah,
like,
right?
This is incredible. She
I
was
know.
so good, yeah.
Why can't they all be? I mean, they're all great. They're all great to do this show, but she was next level good. Excellent question. Before we go further, I want to just show Alexa coffee. If we can cue that up, because when I did episode 1, I was telling all the old crew that I'm showing like the best clips, and we kind of started with this huge montage, and immediately she was like, "Where's the time you guys made me guzzle the Tim's Take 10?" And I said, if I next time I do a clip show, I'll show it. So for no reason whatsoever, let's show former crew member Alexa drinking a Tim's Take 10 after the Classy Chassis episode.
Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, get all the liquid. Oh, what was your thing? Just go. Get all of it. Come on. Don't get all of it. This is a stripped down moment right here. Drain it. Drain it.
You can't be talking.
Drain it. Right out of it.
Mine too. Just like come up steadily and just burst back.
Yeah, I'm not good. No doubt. Alexa! Come on!
Hey, there's so much in here.
You
It's
said
like
that.
10 cups.
You were all talk a second ago.
Oh my god. It's like 10 cups.
Just do it. Don't think about it.
Is that coffee?
Yes. Because you can't
Everybody's so disgusting.
Give me a dad reaction.
Yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Oh, boo! You failed.
We're taking off.
All right, man.
That was my takeaway from the Classy Chassis episode. We brought them to a garage, let them play in front of a whole bunch of old hot rods, but what I remember most was the entire episode, Alexa going, nobody's drank the Tim's Take 10. I'm going to down that thing at the end of the episode. And I was like, hey, I'm holding you to that. And then we all gathered around to watch this like 17-year-old girl drink 10 cups of coffee from a cardboard box. And she only got like 3/4 of the way. She's probably still awake. But shout out to Alexa and the time she tried to drink a Tim's Take 10. That was a stripped down moment, 100%. There was another time I kept putting chocolate fingers in her mouth. We had this giant thing of chocolate fingers on some Christmas episode, and I was feeding the cameramen, and I don't know. I wish I had a clip of that. But she crammed a whole bunch in her mouth.
Is this Alexa Joy?
That is Alexa Joy.
She said, she has a comment. I think she was watching.
She's probably like, where's my coffee clip? There it was.
She hasn't commented on that yet.
Okay.
But she said, greatest show in YXE local history. Way to go, SD cast and crew. Loving this look back.
Nice. Thanks, Alexa. If you don't know, you should know Alexa Joy was one of the most important people to ever work on this show. I cannot say enough good about Alexa as a human being. I'm being serious. I've never met anybody that can jump into any role. She has this weird fearlessness about her. Like, if I ever needed to, like, if there was ever some reality show where, like, you need to pick one person in your life to do a project or, like, a challenge and you don't know what it was, but you have to pick a person, I would 100% pick her. Because she is someone who, if you ask her, can you do this? Can you do something? She will look you dead in the eye and be like, absolutely. Even if you know she doesn't know how to do it, the next time you talk, she'll have figured it out. She just has this weird confidence that if you could, like, jar and sell, you would be a millionaire. So shout out to Alexa, who did, like, everything. She was the first ever, I think the only ever female handheld camera op. She was I think, the first social media correspondent. Actually, you know what? Let's go into another clip here. Let's get Semko at Earl's ready. So this is back. I think this was actually her final night on the job. We went live on location once. Earl's Saskatoon, our title sponsor. We set up all the cameras in Bacchus Lounge. We brought in Jay freaking Semko of the Northern Pikes. It was going to be a huge episode, and it happened on the same night as one of the NHL playoffs, and then the bar filled with people wanting to watch the game. However, it was so much work, and Alexa was killing it that night because she was roaming around with the microphone. So let's do a quick look back at Semko, Earls, and Alexa Joy's swan song. You are watching Strip Down, Saskatchewan's only 1-hour local music showcase, the show that brings the venue to you in the comfort of your own living room. I'm your host, Curtis Anderson. In the 10 years we have been doing this show, we've done it live from the studio and taped on location. For the first time ever in a decade, we are bringing Strip Down to you live on location from Earl's Restaurant. Who likes history? Let's make some. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Semko. Oh, what is that sound?
A boy on a greyhound looking for truth, staring at the window with nothing to lose. Tracks on his arms, gin on his breath. He just needs a place to rest.
Alexa, what's going on out there? I don't know if we can hear each other.
I think we can hear each other.
Okay, yeah. PA system's working.
Excellent. So
we leave the studio and everything finally works.
it is actually kind of relieving to see that the whole place isn't burning down already. So I think we're doing okay.
Well, bang, 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 there's nobody home. She's a girl with a problem. She wants to be alone. You can lie to me, and you can lie to yourself for a while, till those lies turn into something else. I will talk to you, and you will listen to me for a while, and then you'll turn your back and away.
Now we can bail out of this. That was it. Thanks, Alexa Joy, for your contribution to the show throughout the years. We've actually, one of the things that really was important to Jay and I was when a long-term crew member left, we would give them an episode. It was like their own clip show. We would bring them up, put them on the couch or whatever, and send them off in style. So actually, before we continue, let's look at Goodbyes real quick. It's a quick clip, but this is just kind of an example of what we do when longtime crew members left the show. Let's cue up Goodbyes. This is fun.
You know, with media school, it made me want to do film, but working here has like pushed me even further into like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, and it was always like one day a week you get to see all your media school friends that you may not always have time to see. We see each other pretty regularly, but
Yeah, but this is always nice. Like we always had this set time.
We're always
and
here together doing the
it's
things that we've
always
always
fun.
done together. So
Yeah, it's always
and then,
fun.
like,
and
I don't know. I like seeing you guys, so.
seeing you is pretty okay.
So I mean, I guess, yeah, whatever.
Usually we get the artists to sign the logo at the end of every episode,
Okay.
but it's you, buddy. When we had our Goodbye Jenna episode, they got to sign the last logo, so here it is, the Season 5 logo. Jesse Gordon, make your mark.
I have absolutely no regrets about this. It's been great.
You guys have been good, buddy.
Nah, you guys have been awesome to work with.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
On behalf of Stripped Down and his amazing 6-year stint with the show, we present this Lifetime Achievement Award to the Biz, Jordan Bizdell.
6 years ago, on this day, I remember that I went to a career counselor asking them, what do I want to do with my life? And I just was bouncing off ideas and whatnot, and they told me that I should go over to Stripped Down. I got taken in. You guys you just mean so much to me, and really every Wednesday just turned out that it was more or less a friendship. I just started showing up because you guys were just so awesome, and oh God. Thank you.
Got emotional there. Saying bye to some friends over the years. Say something, Caitlin.
Do you need a question?
I need a question.
Okay. Another one of our former co-workers, Derek Watson.
Derek Watson.
Waddy.
Yeah, shout out to Waddy.
What's your most embarrassing moment on the show? Either you or a guest.
He was probably Andy Schaaf. I showed that clip already. That was bad news. And of course, he's the one that becomes like super famous, and everyone finds that clip online and watches. And I've got a double eye infection. I've got like pus in my eyes trying to talk to poor Andy Schaaf. So that was probably that one jumps out the most. But also like every episode's embarrassing in some way. That's kind of the point. We go and whatever happens. And before we start rolling, I'm always talking to the musicians. We're like doing the countdown. And they're like, I'm nervous. And I'm like, guaranteed I will make a mistake before you do. So don't worry about it. You would never know. Well, I mean, you might, but I am like terrified each week when I'm doing the introduction. Because I'm like, if I could get through the introduction, it's fine. But so many times I'm like, you're watching Stripped Down Live. And it's just like fires and alarms going off in my head. I'm like, I got to hit the intro. And then we're okay. Because back in the old days when it was live to tape, it was right at the beginning. So I'd be like, that sucked. Let's start again. But now, no dice.
No safety net.
You got to, I blew one not too long ago. It was Gregory. And I think I introduced him as Gregor. Because I had Gregor on the mind, so I always have Gregor on the mind. But yeah, that was embarrassing. That was a recent one where I blew the guy's name on the intro. Not my best night. But we go on.
Taylor Elliott has a good question. I like this one.
Okay.
If Stripped Down could have a mascot, what would it be?
Oh my God. I want to say the dancing girl from the logo, just because.
Because it's easy.
I don't know. I've never met her. Caitlin.
Okay.
That would be. I don't know how it would look though. I don't know. Probably some version of like gritty, some like inanimate object. I feel like Doug. There's been like characters on the show before. Who would be good? Who would be a good stripped down mascot? I know you'd have a mic, but yell it out. You were Green Man for a while. What?
Me?
Yeah, Doug was Green Man for a few episodes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a pirate.
Susan?
Johnny Hatch. Oh, shout out to Johnny Hatch. Should we show that? Here's a request from camera op Douglas Evans, one of his favorite episodes. We had a gentleman named Johnny Hatch on the show, and it was like everything was going according to plan, like a regular show, and then out of nowhere, he puts down his instrument, brings out gloves with lights on them, and he just starts dancing and going harder than anyone was ready for. And like, it's a little out of context because you didn't see the rest of the show, but this, imagine just like a normal show, and then this happens. Let's go Johnny Gloves. We're about to have a strip down moment here, folks. So take it away.
I don't know if you can see the flashing.
Johnny Hatch. going.
Walking in our footsteps, they will eat our dust for sure. They will walk for miles, hoping to find more.
All right, we bail out of this.
It's so good to see.
That was the out of nowhere moment of the Johnny Hatch episode. Thanks for bringing that up, Doug. Let's keep going.
How many sidekicks in 13 seasons?
Sidekicks, like Caitlyn? Are they
I
talking
think
about
me.
you?
I don't
Just
know.
3.
Just 3 in 13
There was
seasons.
Alexa, there was Bryn, and there was Caitlyn.
All right. That was Jamie.
And if you wonder why they were all female, is because we have a sponsorship with the Hairstyle Inn. And it's not going so great up there anymore. So I really needed someone who could showcase the wonderful and talented folks at the Hairstyle Inn. Thus, I mean, if there's some men out there with some gorgeous locks, I would consider it, but it was just kind of a no-brainer to fill this spot with a female. And speaking of that, we are 2 weeks away of taking you there for the first time to
Yes,
meet
we
Laddie
are.
and the gang, and we're gonna get you done up. You've never really.
I've never dyed my hair before.
It's gonna be huge.
So I'm ready.
It's gonna be huge.
It's going to be great.
Caitlyn
Whole new me.
2025, the
Yeah.
January show. You're gonna be like, who is that?
Who is that?
Who is that?
Yeah, I think just black hair.
I think the funny thing
goth.
to do would if you just shaved it off like me, and then I'd be like,
Like, well,
that failed.
4th sidekick. This is from Gregor.
Gregor, see, I was just talking about him.
Who's the guest who turned you down you want to have on? Or who you'd love to have on or hasn't been yet?
Oh man, with Vicky Minor, we're still trying to get her on. I wouldn't say she's turned me down. Strung me along, more like it. No, I'm just kidding. But she's always like, let's do it next month. And then she gets busy because she's talented and she books gigs. She's like, sorry, I can't because I've got, real crowds to play to. Jordan Cook, Rainwolf, he was already kind of too big for the show, but I really wanted him on. There's a gentleman that I keep seeing him around, and I'm like, you got to do the show this season, and we never make it happen. Elliot? Ray Elliott, I believe is his name. Got to have him on before we end the show. Not that I'm making any plans to end the show, but that's one of those, like, we're going to go as many seasons as we have to until I can get this checklist. Yeah.
Sweet. This is from Julian. Who had the best outfits or stage presence for being a new band at the time?
Oh, great question. Geez, that's a tough one. Best stage presence. I mean, Josh Palmer always carried himself as a rock star. I don't know, but I mean, he's been playing since he was like 4, so I don't know if that counts. But every time he did this show, I was like, how are you still in Saskatoon? Like, I don't get it. And I know he's got family here, and it's unfair of me to think that every person who plays music wants to end up in LA as a millionaire, but he was definitely someone. He still does. I see him on the street, and he's like, Curtis! And I kind of like fangirl a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's Josh Palmer. So yeah, that's my answer. Josh Palmer.
Awesome. From Taylor Elliott.
Okay.
Did you ever think this show would make it to 14 seasons?
No, when we first started, I thought we'd get like 25 episodes, and then I found out the crew, the majority of the kids at the time were a band. They were a high school band called Pirate Fridays. That's great. This is a segue, and this is going to be really obnoxious because there's 2 things going on here, okay? So then I said, you know what? Let's take it to episode 50. You guys could be the 50th episode. We'll have a big celebration, and that'll probably be the end of the show. So we built up that Pirate Fridays was going to be episode 50, and while that was happening, I was supposed to be in a wrestling match. So this was a time in my life where I was eating protein and salad for like 2 months because I was like, I'm going to show them. I'm going to get into the greatest shape of my life. So I do this amazing intro here where I'm just like jacked and I've got a stripped down title on because the match got canceled and all that hard work went to nowhere except for this intro. I remember the second I found out after like living the worst life ever for 2 months of just like training and getting in shape. When I heard that it was canceled and it wasn't going to happen, I like Charlie Browned over to the cupboard, opened a giant bag of Doritos, and I was just walking around my house shirtless, eating Doritos, just like, well, that was an exercise that was a bridge to nowhere. However, My hard work lives on here in this intro. Here we go. Episode 50 intro, Money But Music. That hair! Listen to this.
You are watching Stripped Down, the show where Saskatchewan musicians perform and then I speak. The show that is saving local television 3 nights a week. Stripped Down's momentum is unstoppable. Its popularity grows like vines. If Mayor Atchison were here tonight, he'd tell you it's actually stripped down that makes Saskatoon truly a city that shines. Yes, he would. On this very stage, we've brought you Semco, Securca, Pereira, and Lane. And then we brought you McGuire and Brinklow again and again. Stripped Down has been the result of the blood, the sweat, and the tears of 11 volunteers for nearly 2 years. So tonight, we switch gears. You guys ready? After 49 opening acts, there'll be no more delays. This is episode 50, and ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Stripped Down, Pirate Fridays!
The roots run deep in this family tree, cause it's not about the money, it's the music. See, I guess an hour of life is worth a minimum wage, but working dead end is like living in a cage, so I stay entertained with the dreams of the stage, where I'm booking every empty with a band-aid page. But the lyrics are subtle, not ripping through your ribcage, the type that makes you stop, think and engage. Yo, I'm not trying to boast, brag, I'm those empty qualities of Mark. What pixel I stand on the relax with this easy stretch case, smoking this song and take it back to the Stone Age.
Random diss for Mark LePage. They wrote this song in high school, and then they just dragged poor Mark LePage, and I just thought that was so funny. That was like the original diss track, Pirate Fridays, 2008 or whatever. There it was, episode 50. That was another great question, but yeah, we are burning through time, Caitlin. Do we have a ton of questions left?
We're slowed down a little bit,
okay,
but I've got like 1, 2 more.
Yeah, let's go.
This one is from Clayton again.
Hey.
Who is the set designer for the show? Always like the vibes on set. Need the number for your chain link fence guy.
Great question. Jay Neufeld, 100%. Co-creator of this show. And it's funny you mention that because our thing was before every new season started, we would find something new to spray paint silver and add to the set. These steps behind us, these like super expensive rolling, I don't know, set stairs. We found these behind the building. They were completely rusted and collapsed. And we're like, well, this will be a good background because at the time it was black. So we brought that in, and then we paid some thief on Kijiji like $50 for these fence panels. And he was like, oh yeah, I could drop them off. Like, all right, buddy. So we got him to drop off the other blocks. We didn't want him to like see where we were actually taking him. He was sketchy, but hey, you got him here, and that's a great question. Jay Neufeld, I can get you his number if you want him to come over and like design some cool stuff at the bowl with you. You can do it. He's a good dude.
I've got one more, and this is from our old boss, Andy.
No way. Andy, shout out.
I can't pronounce his last name. So,
yeah.
You know. Curtis, is that TV makeup or is that just your real life face?
Oh, dude. It's the years of stress of you and I carrying a radio station on our shoulders, Andy. Shout out. Good dude. Andy Roth, shout out. Mentor. Inspirational father figure.
Love Andy.
Sure, it's Andy.
Yeah, Andy's
Good
great.
dude, right?
Great dude.
That's it for questions. We got like 5 minutes left. That's amazing. That's like could not have timed out better. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, we got what do we want to see, you guys? Eric, we've got time for like couple more clips. We should show some hot dogs, okay? Local crew member Doug, also known as Dr. Booty Quiver. We gave him a New Year's Eve special a few years ago, and much to the chagrin of Eric Steiner, the guy that works here, Doug had a song about hot dogs. And I was like, well, if it's about hot dogs, we should hang hot dogs from the roof. Let's see what happens. Let's roll hot dogs.
Well, Jimmy asked the devil, hey devil, can I be a hot shot? A hot shot, whoa. Lucifer is evil, yeah. He turned Jimmy into a hot dog. A hot dog? And now, Jimmy is a hot dog. Jimmy is the mayor.
All right. Well, we are burning through time, you guys. I should probably, like, do my thank yous and reads because we didn't take any commercials, so... Huge shout out to Earl Saskatoon. If we can do this now before we wrap. Title sponsor of Strip Down Live back again this season and generously gave us $125 worth of Earl's gift cards to give away tonight, which we are about to. From there we go to Vern's Pizza. Fed us before the show this time. That's new. Weather not great, so Vern's came early. Yup. Followed by the hairstyle and... Oh, sorry, I knew there was something else I was supposed to say about Vern's Pizza. Try their nachos. They have nachos now. And if you think their pizza's great, try their nachos. That's what was the awkward pause was about. Hairstyle in. Next time you see... No, that's not true because we've got a show next week. But after that, January show, you're not even going to recognize Caitlin. They're going to give her the makeover of makeovers when it comes to hair.
I'm ready for it.
Right? You're ready. And our good friends at eWest Music. And remember, all these episodes I've talked about are available on the MerMoose Media right there. Facebook page, or no, YouTube page. It's falling apart. It's coming off the tracks, Caitlin. We only have like 3 minutes to go. And I want to show another clip. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. This went way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be you and I chatting. I want to see some clips, Caitlin. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. This was I'm going to count this as a success. What do you want to think? Should we get Christmas going? Because this was really cool. Should we end with Dustin Penny? Or maybe we'll show a bit of it. Maybe we'll have time for two. A few years ago, we had Dustin Penny in as our Christmas episode. And for whatever reason, I never really met the guy before, but when I announced he was going to be on the show, I legit got a bunch of like, I don't know if you want that guy on the show, like haters coming out of the woodwork. And I'd never met the guy, so I was like, I don't know about this. You know, I was reserved. And then he's like, can I bring in a children's choir? Here's Dustin Penny just like knocking Christmas out of the park. How's this for a moment?
So this is Christmas. What have you done? Another year over. New one's just begun.
Sure, we'll jump out of this because we're completely out of time. Sorry. Believe me, once the kids started singing, it was beautiful. But we are out of time and we got to announce a winner. I want to give the $125 to Evan.
I was going to pick Evan,
That
actually.
was a great question. What was it again? It knocked me on my butt. I was not ready for it. What was the... I can't remember. But it was a really good question. Go back. Scroll back through your little
I found it.
Scrub.
Who left the biggest impact on you, positive or negative?
Who left the biggest impact on me, positive or negative? And I kind of gave a soft answer with Larry Krause. But yeah, I guess I still got to go with that. I mean, so many. The staff itself, we you know, like... made friends here, but for actual artists, man, I got a comment. I will leave a comment because we were out of time. We have like 30 seconds left. That was not ready for that, Evan. Thank you for that. I'll get the $125 of Earl's gift cards to you, Evan. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and writing in. Caitlin, thank you so much. That was a tour de force tonight. 3rd episode. Caitlin, everyone. That's not easy to...
It was fun. It was great.
Tap dance with me here on Live TV. Thanks, everyone. We're actually back next week with our Christmas show. Thanks for watching Strip Down Live. That's it.